Good morning. Welcome to the First Universalist Church of Rochester, where we are called to nurture the spirit and to serve the community, and where our organ is fantastic. So good this morning. Brock, that was a beautiful piece. I am Reverend Lane-Mairead Campbell, and I use they, them pronouns, and leading worship with me today are Reverend Michelle Yates, our Minister of Lifespan Faith Development, using she, her pronouns. Johanna Connolly, our worship associate, she, her. Dr. Brock Chesvold, our fabulous music director, using he, him. Jack Cunningham, he, him, and Emma Berry, she, her, providing tech support. Thank you, thank you, thank you for your work. And Ezekiel McGee, using they, them pronouns, and Karen Labraco, she, her, for our online ministry team. So grateful to have all of you leading worship this morning with us.
If you are here with us for the first time this morning, especially, we welcome you. Thank you for making it to this worshiping community. We have a visitors form that can be found online in the chat or found in person in your pews. And there should be lots of newly stocked pencils too. Please fill out the form so that we can offer you a welcome beyond this worship service. We offer a UU and You session on the third Sunday of every month following service in the back of the sanctuary and online. The next UU and You is on November 20th. Before we take a moment to turn to our neighbor, let us take a moment to turn toward the camera and to greet our online worshiping community. Please offer a wave. If you are online, please pop into the chat to offer a greeting and to share your joys and sorrows. If you are here at First Universalist, I invite you to take a moment to turn to your neighbor this morning and offer a greeting. You're like, what am I supposed to do?
Oh, dear ones, we are gathering today to remember, and we are gathering for this annual Remembrance Sunday. And so I'll invite you to please rise in body or in spirit and to join us in singing hymn number 336, All My Memories of Love.
All the souls morning. I should. In the rising of the sun and its going down, we remember them. In the rustling of leaves and in the beauty of autumn, we remember them. When we are weary and in need of strength, we remember them. When we're lost and sick at heart, we remember them. When we have joys we yearn to share, we remember them. So long as we love, they too shall live, for they now are part of us, and we remember them. Come, let us remember and worship together. As Bridget lights our chalice at First Universalist Church, and you light one in your own homes, will you join me in saying our chalice words in unison? May we be a people of welcome, here to grow in heart, mind, and spirit, and may we reach out to serve our community. We'll now say the affirmation of faith. Please rise in body or spirit and join me. Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to serve humanity in fellowship, to the end that all souls shall grow into harmony with the source and meaning of life. Thus do we covenant with each other and with all. Sometimes it's hard for me to imagine how my indifferent paper checks and bills can transform into something good. But oh, they do. I think of feeding and housing people, of truly helping in the cause for peace and justice, of supporting movements like Black Lives Matter, all in ways I simply could not do by myself. But as a member of this church community, my paper adds to a pile of paper that truly transforms into good works. Visitors can drop your visitors form into the offering basket. You're invited to give online by scanning the QR code in your pews, or to drop an offering in the offering basket. For folks online, please click the link in the chat to give to First Universalist Church. As we come together in remembrance, let's remember to generously support the things we truly care about. Thank you.
Grant us
Our story today is from an author you've heard a lot from over these past 2 years because she continues to knock it out of the park with addressing real deep issues in a way that we all can appreciate and feel. The story is called Sweet, Sweet Memory by Jacqueline Woodson. But if you can imagine, thank you. But if you can imagine a small little house in a very rural area and a little black girl getting ready for the day. Grandma has made me a white angel dress with sleeves that spread like wings. I pull it over my head and button it in the back. I lift my arms. Out on the porch, I comb my own hair for the first time because Grandma is busy and Grandpa is gone. The lettuce is thin and fine. The corn stalks are taller than I am now. Soon there will be collards and cabbage and squash. The earth changes, Grandpa said as he planted his garden. Like us, it lives, it grows. Like us, Grandpa said, holding the rich brown earth in his hand, a part of it never dies. Everything and everyone goes on and on. The house is hushed and golden. Soon there will be people here, and heads bowed in prayer and arms around me, silent and sad. Soft, warm hands against my forehead, more tears to brush away. Relatives come from everywhere, bringing food and hugs and memories of Grandpa. Gray, my cat, brushes soft against my legs like always. I pick her up and rub her until she purrs. Her purring goes on and on. My family has hundreds of stories to tell about Grandpa. The long ago stories from before I was born, the last month stories, the last week stories. But I don't tell my stories, the one that is stuck there in the back of my throat. Say something about your Grandpa, Sarah, Grandma says. But I shake my head and lean into her and cry, not caring that everyone is watching me, cousins and uncles and aunts. Uncle Mitchell says, hunkering down beside me, a little bit at a time. Everyone and everything goes on and on. That's my story, I whisper. And Uncle Mitchell smiles and says, I know. He said it to me too when I was a little boy. And me too, Aunt Delilah says, handing me some flowers, when I was no whit bigger than you. My cousin Randy says, last summer out there in his garden. He said it to me too. And me too, I say, feeling a smile coming on, all the time. Outside, the sun faces, and the cricket's song grows loud. The day is ending, like always. Everything and everyone going on and on. Late in the evening, more hugs and kisses, then cars pulling away slowly from the house. Grandma starts a humming, a song she always hums at the end of the day. And we wave goodbye until we can't see a single car light. Then we wave a little longer, turn on the porch light, and sit on the porch, swinging in the darkness. We turn off the porch light and swing in the darkness, like always. Soon the corn will be ready for picking, Grandma says. He loved to plant, your Grandpa did. Soon I'll make us a nice meal with all the vegetables from his garden. Grandma smiles. We'll eat sweet corn and we'll have a sweet, sweet memory. What will you remember, Sarah? Grandma wants to know. I smile, leaning against her shoulder. In the garden, there are crickets and katydids singing. Grandpa said to listen to things, I say. Listen to the way life goes on and on. Somewhere an owl is hooting, soft and low. Under the porch, there are field mice moving around. Maybe a frog or two. And he used to talk about being a boy, I whisper. He would smile when he talked about the picnics they would have in the summer. And he'd say, if only you'd been there, Sarah. My memory sure is sweet. Me and Grandma laugh and remember long into the night. But for a time, there is sadness before we go to sleep. Watch the world, Grandpa said, digging in his garden. Watch the way it grows. So I watch it as summer fades into fall. Watch it as me and Grandma begin to pack away our summer clothes and take down our sweaters. And start a doll bed quilt and finish it. I watch the world as the days grow shorter. I watch it as the harvest comes, bringing with it Grandpa's collards and cabbage and tomatoes, squash and sweet potatoes, and supper on the porch with the sun going down. Sweet, sweet memory of everything and everyone going on and on.
We pause at this point in our service to honor the joys and the sorrows of our gathered community. If you would like to, I invite you to place a hand over your heart from wherever you are, so that we can be connected to our own heart center and connected to one another, whether here in this sanctuary or joining us from wherever you are. As Johanna places stones into a bowl, I will read aloud the joys and the sorrows of our gathered community. Folks online are also invited to please share your joys and sorrows in the chat. This morning, we share a joy from Lois Baum and our homeless Heartbeats Justice Circle. Reach Shelter has announced their Project Haven plan, an 80-bed, 6-site space to welcome in chronically homeless people, LGBTQIA+ people, sober folks, and women recovering from sex trafficking. Great news and a joy for our community. We share two joys this morning from Marty Eggers. It was a joy to see my grandson Cal in the lead role of his high school play, leading the cast in the bows. And a joy also and super surprise that his older brother Benjamin came home from college to see his brother perform. A joy this morning from Ed Deller. Nuke and Ed are thrilled that Ed is healing well at home following his heart surgery. We are grateful for the outpouring of care and support from our church community. This morning we honor joy, sorrow, a mixture from Patty Goodwin. Today would have been her husband George's 83rd birthday. And we are remembering George today. And we share a devastating sorrow from Carl Abbott. A week ago, the Nestor Street food cupboard was broken into. All their personal care and cleaning items were taken. This is the food cupboard that we support with our monthly food in gathering, which will of course happen 2 Sundays from now on November 13th. However, we will be taking up a special collection this Thursday from 4 to 6 to replenish the pantry with cleaning and personal care items. So please join us in that. More news to come. Holding those at the Nestor Street food cupboard in our hearts. That is really devastating. This morning, we share a stone for the joys of our online community. We share a stone for the sorrows of our online community. And we drop a final stone into the bowl to represent all the joys and the sorrows left unspoken in the silent sanctuaries of these very hearts. May all be held in the heart of love. Dear ones, I want to invite you to pray with me, please. This morning, to pray or meditate, whatever feels comfortable for you, to take a moment to just allow your shoulders to ease down from your ears, to sit back in your chair, close your eyes, soften your gaze. Let us take a deep breath together as we prepare our hearts and spirits. Spirit of sweetness, of the delights of our lives, of joy. Help us to embrace the sweet, sweet memories. The stories that bring a smile to our face. The long ago stories. The last week stories. The last month stories. Help us to savor the sweetness of our memories. We hold in our hearts this morning the joys of shared living, the laughter, the wonder, the beauty, the awe, the shared dishes, the smells, the settings in which we have our memories with those who are no longer here. Moments when someone was a part of our days who helped to lift our spirits. The power of human connection to bring a smile to another's face. This morning we hold the sweetness in our hearts with one another. May our hearts open to those joyful memories. May we allow the cherished and beloved memories to come. May we tell the stories. And may we pause to remember the delights that are such gifts in our lives and that have been brought our way through the generosity of spirit of another. Let this day remind us of how much love we have received and how we are called to savor that love. Amen. Blessed be, and may it be so. Let us hold collective silence together as we honor those sweet memories.
You are not forgotten. That is what we say each year as we gather for this important ritual time of grieving together. You are not forgotten. As you sit in your pew in this moment, what names come to your heart and mind? Perhaps a person or a beloved pet, a family member or a friend who touched your heart that you would like to honor. Each of you received a fall leaf as you entered today. I invite you to take a moment to write down the names or draw a picture or create something to remember those who come to mind who have gone from our days. There should be pencils in your pews. If you look around and are still in need, you can raise your hand and one of our ushers can bring you either leaves or pencils. When you are ready, you're invited to come forward down the center aisle to place your leaves on the empty spaces of our altar and to take a look at the pictures of mementos of loved ones displayed there. If you are joining us online, we invite you to put the names of your loved ones into the chat. Let us join in this important ritual of honoring the grief, of placing names with faces, of remembering these loved ones. We honor the empty spaces, the complicated grief, the moments of unexpected memory, that shared experiences as we sing the names of those lost this morning. This litany of saints, adapted from John D. Becker, has the continual sung line, "You will not be forgotten," sung throughout. You will hear names of those from our community who died this past year, names that were submitted from members of our community, and the names of the 56 homicide victims who died due to gun violence since the first of the year here in Rochester. Normally, we also include the names of transgender or gender nonconforming people who have died due to violence in this past year. But this year, we will honor them on Transgender Day of Remembrance. And in many ways, also because there are so many more deaths in both of these categories, more than usual. The transgender people who died due to violence this year is at 52. Normally, those who died due to gun violence and transgender people who died due to violence is around 50 altogether. And this year they are each 50 some. If you are here to listen, please just listen. If you find yourself organically singing or humming along, go where the Spirit leads you. After our litany, we will hold a moment of silence to honor the memories and to honor those who stay in the silent sanctuaries of our hearts today. Please join in remembering and saying the names.
fishermen, Bryson Simpson, Derek Taylor, Charlotte Thomas, Rashad Walker, Roman Walls, Kaylee Wright Senior, Anthony Williams, Daquan Williams, Chad Wilson, Corey Wilson, not forgotten, Willie Warford, Caroline Sims, Willis Walker, not forgotten, Beth Howell, you are not
We sing again and again this morning. You are not forgotten. To honor that remembering is enough. It is enough to remember our loved ones. It is enough to be here together grieving. It is enough to see what they shared with us of their lives reflected in our actions, our words, our choices. It is enough that they go on and on and on in us. This past year, as Patty Goodwin shared memories of her beloved husband, George, at his memorial, she reflected on the Hebrew concept of Dayenu. Dayenu means it would have been enough. Sung at the Seder table each year for Passover, it is the constant refrain for the stories told about God delivering the Jewish people from enslavement, about the miracles that occurred, and about being with God. And though we are not in the season of Passover, we sure are in a season of ancestry, of story, of affirming for one another that whatever has happened, whatever transpired between you and your dead beloveds, it was enough. It would have been enough. Death and grief can be terribly painful and lonely. And one of the ways that we ourselves make sense out of these hard losses is to believe we should have done more. We could have been there for this or that life event. We should have made more time to connect. We could have been there when they died or when they asked us for help. Many of us still living with the reality that we were not able to be there in these last few years. These regrets are real. Many of us live with them here. These ideals are sometimes how they live on and on in us. Yet this morning, we are here, reminding one another that each one of us grieves a loss of someone we hold dear to us. Each one of us has known the regrets and the grief and the sadness of one of our beloveds dying. Helen Keller reminds us, we bereaved are not alone. We belong to the largest company in the world, in all the world, the company of those who have known suffering. It is still enough to come together each year and at important milestones to remember. You are not forgotten. You are not forgotten. You are not forgotten. You are not forgotten in this community with these people. We are not alone in our grieving. We have to come together each year to remember. We tell the stories. We tell the stories that are ours to tell, recognizing that some in our lives may have the same stories and others might have just a little bit of a different perspective. We tell the stories of ancestors who passed away years ago and those whose deaths are still fresh in our hearts and in our minds. It is enough to remember them this morning and when birthdays pass, or anniversaries, or even just pieces of our lives that they would have loved to have been present for. Our memories are enough. Our tears are enough. Writing the names is enough. A picture or a memento on the altar is enough. Come into this space and lay your grief at this shared altar. Come into this community and give yourself some time to miss them. Bring hearts full of the joys of knowing them. Bring the tears of longing and the regrets of all that could not be done when they were here. We are here together this morning, and that is enough. Amen. Blessed be. May it be so. I know for me, in times of remembering, in times of honoring those who have gone before, I have to have a bit of a lullaby to be able to sing to myself and to hear others sing to me. And so this morning, our final hymn to sing to one another as a reminder that there is a balm for the pains of our hearts and also a balm for the regrets and those that we miss. Let us sing hymn number 1045. There is a balm in Gilead. Please rise in body or in spirit and join us in singing. Please remain standing as we extinguish our chalice flame this morning. Let us read together the words printed in your order of service and on your screen. We extinguish this flame, but we keep its light in our hearts with its message of love and justice, taking it outside these walls to the world we live in until we are together again. Oh, dear ones, let us put a hand to our hearts wherever we find ourselves. Let us just sit with the balms that we need here with the memories. Take a moment to just look around and look at who is here with you, remembering with you today. To be here with these people, to honor these memories, to sing these names is enough. May our remembering be for a blessing, not only for ourselves, but for our community. And may we continue to remember them. May you know that you are loved. And may you go and be that love to whomever you meet. Amen. Blessed be. May it be so.